Last night, the Philadelphia Eagles, in dominating fashion, defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in New Orleans 40-22. Jalen Hurts was 17 for 22 for 220 yards and 3 total touchdowns and an interception, while Pat Mahomes finished 21 for 32 for 257 yards and 3 TDs, but 2 critical interceptions, one being a pick six. Thoughts on Super Bowl 59, fellas?
Listen, I thought it was a great game. Obviously, congratulations, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman, Saquon, AJ Brown, all the usual suspects. Shout out to them. They took that Super Bowl L a couple seasons ago. Took that on the chin. They weren't able to get back to the Super Bowl the year after, but this season they were able to keep everything, take it one game at a time. Early in the season, the Eagles were struggling. They didn't let that phase them. They obviously started playing a better brand of football, started getting rolling. Saquon started, just carrying them on their back until, and then he was such an offensive threat running the football that once you get to the Super Bowl, the Chiefs are selling out to stop the run. And that just opened up the pass game for them. And they have the weapons in the passing game to allow for that, to exploit a defense's strategy in that regard, So everybody had their eyes on Saquon, but, it left the others open, and the others are pretty damn good. And you have to just tip your cap to the play callers in Philly, the team, the organization as a whole. Howie Roseman, I mean, he never stops trying to get talent. He never stops trying to acquire new pieces and take flyers on guys, bringing guys that may have some character concerns, bringing guys that may be a little iffy, so to speak. But the talent is what's most important there. And once you have a great collection of talent, but you also have the coaching and the play calling around them, think about somebody like Vic Fangio, who got ran out of Miami because he was coaching them too hard. And, the Philadelphia Eagles defense, which was a talented defense, but they did not play to their capabilities last season. Look at the impact he's had on them, night and day. You know what I mean? And it's like one man's trash is another man's treasure. So the Dolphins were complaining. The Dolphins fell off this year. Eagles didn't complain, took that same guy and won a Super Bowl with him. Well, you look at that. Shout out to them. I was really surprised about how bad the Chiefs looked. I've never seen them look that bad in such a big moment. But it is what it is. They didn't come ready to play. Patrick Mahomes started the football game with turnovers. And you're not going to win football games losing a turnover battle. I know people don't like to hear that. I know people want to highlight that the Eagles forced turnovers, but one perspective is those turnovers were forced. Another perspective is the Chiefs gave them the football. However you want to look at it, the Chiefs didn't score points because they were giving the Eagles the ball to score points. You can't score points if you don't have the possession, right? And then, not only were you causing turnovers, a pick six involved, right? So you literally gave them 7 points. And then where the first turnover occurred, I believe that set up a short red zone trip for the Eagles. So again, holding on to the football is imperative. I've never seen a Super Bowl one where, the team just has more turnovers than the other team. I'm sure it's happened, but it doesn't happen often. You got to hold on to the football in the biggest moments. And the Eagles, they were able to play a brand of football that was conducive to success. Jalen Hurts did have an early turnover, but because they were forcing the issue as far as having the Chiefs sell out for the run, being able to play off of that, being able to disguise what they wanted to do, the game was won because they kept putting points on the board, and keeping your hands on the ball is a great part of that. So salute to them, and they deserved it, man. What does this mean for the Chiefs and Eagles moving forward? I think the Eagles have a obviously a bright future. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a three-peat of this matchup, right? Obviously, that's not what I hope for, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Chiefs now have something to play for. I think in seasons past, they've been kind of like the chosen ones, the league's favorite. So maybe they didn't have that fire or that. Sometimes you just need that chip on your shoulder to get that extra oomph. All season we didn't see that extra oomph. We thought they were going to turn it up in the postseason, and they did. But maybe that 2-week break didn't do them good. Because the Eagles came out and looked like the hungrier team. They looked like the better team. Shit, Jalen Hurts looked like the better quarterback. So that should have, if I'm Patrick Mahomes and people were saying my GOAT debate is now over for the time being, and people were saying Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field, if it were me, if I was Patrick Mahomes, that would fuel me, and you'd have to see my face in another Super Bowl again. And that's what I expect going forward. But it was a pretty good game, other than it being a blowout. It was a good game just off the strength that Jalen Hurts adds his name to the list of black
quarterbacks. Yeah. I agree 100% with everything you said. My biggest takeaway is from the game is that, and we talked about, earlier, maybe like 2-3 years ago on this show, we talked about, we didn't think Jalen Hurts was the right person for the job. Like, we all said that, the way he was playing at that point in time. Say he's a runner. When we was comparing him to Lamar, it was like, he's more of a runner than Lamar. But I think with all of us, and me, I can speak for myself, we just forget he's a winner. He's always won. At Alabama, he won. At Oklahoma, he won. You can look at his percentage of his games he's won when he started. He's like over 70% of the games he's won. He's a winner. You can go back and look at the last Super Bowl. We had 300 yards, 70 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. So on the biggest stages, he plays well. And I think the talk got to him is saying, like, I was talking to my homeboy. I say, he was saying, he was picking the Chiefs, and I was like, it's going to come down to that Chiefs, the Eagles defensive line doing what they did, and it's going to come down to the Chiefs. They was going to put 8-9 people in the box, and Jalen Hurts was going to throw the ball to win. That was always going to be the game plan. It was, I think anybody you can pick up a football book and maybe read a page about these two teams, about the matchups, and you can get from that book that the breakdown was going to be Jalen Hurts was going to have to throw the ball for them to win the game. They was not going to let Saquon Barkley beat them. That's the old trick in the book. You take away what they do best, and you see if they can beat you. And he did. You give some credit definitely to it. He got 2 All-Pro receivers there. It's not hard to throw the ball up and let him go get it, but he was composed. He was poised. And we've seen this from Jalen Hurts throughout his career. So I'm not like I said. People say, what did he prove it? I mean, Jalen Hurts has been good. He's been the guy. It's just that he won a Super Bowl. Now he can get that.
He proved it all.
Yeah. Now he get that. Now you got okay. And we talk about the Lamar thing as far as he needed a Super Bowl. Now Jalen Hurts could just build his resume. He already got the ring, build his resume. Now you're looking at potentially going to the Hall of Fame at this point in time. Now, that's what happens when you win a ring early in your career. You can just start building your resume. And that's what he's going to do. You can't sleep about this. You can't take away the Saquon factor. Like, that's the reason why they played. Justin Reed had to come. Justin Reed don't want to be in the box. He does not want to be down there. He want to be back defending that. And you saw what happened. The Eagles they just went over the top once Justin Reed came down. But yeah, shout out to, and the biggest thing is that Eagles defense, man. I want to play like Jalen Carter. Like, that's what I want. I don't need the always and the nice guys. I need somebody that's going to hit somebody in the mouth. And Jalen Hurts don't care about the 50-yard penalty. He don't care about none of that. He's going to hit you in your mouth. He's going to talk trash to you. And that's the type of players you need, man. Howie Roseman, you can't give him enough credit. That roster, I've never seen a roster like that. And be under the salary cap. Like, that's how now I'm like, all right, salary cap got to be a myth. They got all these players on, max deals. If we talk NBA, got AJ Brown making this money, Devontae Smith making this money, and everybody in the defense making that money. So they came in with a game plan, like you said, and they executed that game plan. And the thing about the Chiefs is, they are the Chiefs. I'm not going to discredit them or take anything away from them. They 3 times, but this is what he's been all year. The regular season, they going to beat teams in the regular season. They can turn it on, switch it on, switch it off when they want to, and more than likely you playing teams that you probably are the Chiefs are better than you in the regular season. Like, it only take a little bit. You gotta in the regular season against the Chiefs, you got to pretty damn near play a perfect game to beat them in the regular season. So, but this is who they've been this year. They've been a team that sleepwalk. And like you said, we thought it was going to turn it on, and then they ran into a better team. I feel like they have been playing better teams. They just had that mystique. They had that black magic going for them, and it ran out. When you able to sit back and not blitz Mahomes one time, you're probably gonna win that game. Because that's how you got to beat them. You got to be able to just rush 3 or 4, get pressure, get them uncomfortable, and sit back and play man-to-man defense. So I'm not gonna sit here and say it's a blueprint because it's Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna find a way to be there. They're gonna find a way to make that offensive line better. But like I said, I was reading articles. If you're moving your guard to play left tackle, you should be taking advantage of that. And the Eagles finally are the team that took advantage of it. They put Josh Sweat on home time and time again. Every single play, Josh Sweat was lined up against Thuney on the left tackle. That's not his position, and Josh Sweat took advantage of it. So it comes down to coaching. I feel like more teams took advantage of Thuney starting at left tackle. It's not his natural position. And a lot of teams didn't take advantage of it. They let the Chiefs get away with it. So I mean, Mahomes is going to be Mahomes, like you said. Next regular season we're going to see them. They're going to be playing every game. Now it's not going to be a sit back and let's turn it on fourth quarter. Now the league should be they should be back on notice about them. If they lost a close game, it'd be all right, whatever, But the fact that they got manhandled the way they did is going to create a big divide there. And he's going to be out for blood next year. He's definitely going to be out for blood next year. But it's good to see. It's good to see, like you say, it's good to see some new blood, and especially a black quarterback. I didn't want to hear the Mahomes three-peat talk. I didn't want to hear none of that. So especially when we got a quarterback in the AFC with Lamar who hasn't been to that level yet. Well, that's my biggest takeaway. The Eagles, they destroyed the Chiefs. It wasn't really a contest. When you start seeing DeAndre Hopkins dropping wide open passes, it's gonna be a long game.
Yo, Chris Jones, he almost crashed out at that.
Yeah, you know it was gonna be a long game when DeAndre Hopkins running wide. Mahomes do his thing. He run wide open. He dropped the pass. I think the Chiefs got a problem with. I don't know if he's fully back healthy yet, but Pacheco just don't look the same.
I was about to ask you that, Keith.
Yeah.
Because it seems like their run game had been doing decently when they found Kareem Hunt as an answer, and he was rolling all season. And then Pacheco came back. That run game never rebounded, and they kept trying to split the carries between the two.
Right.
Pacheco never looked like the Pacheco he was previously. And with every carry that Pacheco got was a carry Hunt did not get, and Hunt was eaten at that point of the season. So I think trying to work back Pacheco, maybe he came back a little too quick, but them not having a run game also hurts Mahomes as far as being able to exploit some of that pass protection. They hadn't run the ball like they usually run the ball.
My thing about Pacheco is he's always been a smaller back. So he's not a 3-down back. Them hits gonna take a toll on him. He's a smaller back. He's not like James Cook where he even though he's shorter back, James Cook he's sturdy. Like he can take hits. Them hits I think that's what's taking a toll. The bad leg injury, but them hits are gonna take a toll against him. I think it comes down also to the Chiefs' offensive line. Their offensive line hasn't been good. I think Mahomes mastered a lot of that, getting the ball out quick. But they're gonna have to retool the offensive line and maybe the running game get better. But I do think you're right. The running game looked much better when Kareem Hunt is touching the ball, other than Pacheco down the stretch. So they're gonna have to figure that out because I don't think Pacheco is a 3-down back. He's not good in pass block. I'm not gonna say I'm surprised that the Eagles did them like that, but it is a little shocking. It is a little shocking to see them go down.
I didn't expect about that.
You're not like that. That was my biggest takeaway from the game is I thought the Chiefs didn't run the ball a lot early. 9 of their first 10 plays was pass plays, and most of them incompletions, to be honest with you. You're talking about a team that's ran the ball on average 29 times in their first 2 playoff games. I was expecting them to establish the run, especially with the way they was getting blitzed. Well, not blitzed, but just pressured early. When I say blitz, I know they wasn't getting technically blitzed, but they just got the pressure early. But, I mean, they were in the game. It was 10-0, and they just looked helter-skelter, and that's uncommon for an Andy Reid team, especially given the 2-week break. You normally talk about this team coming off a bye. They're as efficient as it gets. But the early turnover. It looked like they just uncharacteristic mistakes. The penalty, which may have not been a penalty or not, but that's neither here nor there. But they just uncharacteristic mistakes by the Chiefs. Even Mahomes, I never seen him with happy feet like that, aside from that Bucks game, Super Bowl a few years ago. So when you can knock him off his mark, he can't even get the ball to Kelsey on the plays that they run well. I mean, they didn't even get past half field until when?
Third
Was
quarter.
it what, third quarter?
Yeah,
Late in the
pretty
second.
bad.
So just a total domination by the Eagles. Like y'all all say, shout out to Hurts, another black quarterback to do it. But I think Philly, and I've talked about them throughout the year, I think they've been one of the better teams all year. Just sound at every level on this team. They got it. And as long as Hurts was going to be healthy and not turn the ball over, they was going to have a chance. And I mean, he made the big throw on the first possession to A.J. Brown, 4th and 1. Didn't look like a penalty, but he was ready to play. And that's kind of been his MO in the playoffs. He's ready to go. And so that's what you want from a quarterback, someone who's not going to turn the ball over at a high clip and who's just going to make winning plays. And Jalen Hurts, he's proved that time in, time out. I guess my question now is, where does Hurts rank in the top QB combos now? Does just propel him into a top 5 now with the Super Bowl, or is he still in that 9-10 range where we had him initially?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, for me, Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, that puts you in rare air, especially as far as current active quarterbacks. I don't see how you can't give him that respect, because the quarterbacks that we would probably be ranking over him don't have his resume so far. I mean, he's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. He's played Mahomes twice and been the better quarterback. Like, some would say he was the better quarterback the first matchup. Right? So, I'm not saying he's better than Mahomes. I'm saying when it mattered, he's one of the only people that stand up to the motherfucker consistently. I have to put some respect on that. If we're doing like, and with these rankings, I think you have to consider postseason in there as well. Because the regular season is just one half of the story. It's the longest part of the season, but it's just one half of the story. Nobody cares about Tom Brady's undefeated season because it didn't end in a Super Bowl victory.
Right.
So that's just how it goes. Top 5, I definitely would put him in that. Again, like Keys and Keith both mentioned, from college on, he's been a winner. And now this just cements his place as a winner. So now you look at what he actually puts as far as stats, you look at that a little differently now. Do I really care about the stats argument when I know that since the week 5 bye, they lost 1 game? They lost 1 game since the week 5 bye, and that was
He got
injured in, right?
And he got injured in that game. They lost by a field goal.
He was killing them.
And they were smacking the Commanders.
It was about to ass when he got injured. So I think that's what, 17-0, or hold on, I think that was 16-1. Including the playoffs. I got to do the math, but he pretty much rang off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, pretty much 17, 16 out of 17, 17 out of 18. He pretty much rang that off. So you got to give him credit. You got it. Now, mind you, yes, Saquon is a huge part of it, but I'm also one of those guys where I don't criticize quarterbacks for having weapons. It's a team game. They're supposed to have people to throw to and hand the ball off to. You ain't supposed to do it alone.
because it's still quarterbacks with weapons that suck. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to think about it. Like, teams had weapons, and you can look at him like, oh, this person sucks. Like, Kirk Cousins, he's always had weapons. He sucks. Like,
Oh shit, I'd kill for Drake London and Bijan, nigga.
That's what I'm saying. He had
any team would. Any team would.
Turning the ball over 10, 15, 20 times a season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course he's tough. Like, when you start talking about quarterbacks, like, before, like we always did our quarterback rankings. We always put like Justin Herbert up there and shit.
Not anymore.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. We put Justin Herbert up there. We didn't put we didn't put a lot of quarterbacks before we put Jalen Hurts. That's that conversation over with. Like, it's done. That's done. So it's probably like a handful, if that, quarterbacks that you want to take over Jalen Hurts at this point. Literally, like probably 1, 2, 3.
I mean, it's just going to be Lamar, Allen, Mahomes and Burrows.
That's pretty much it. But
Yeah.
but then like Nick said, now you're looking at resumes and why is he not sliding right behind Mahomes? Like you understand? Like I mean, we MVP, 2-time MVP, 1-time MVP, and Joe Burrow been to the Super Bowl, beat Mahomes, but ain't none of them did with Jalen Hurts. Ain't none of them got Super Bowl MVP. Ain't none of them played two hell of Super Bowl games, like you said, against Mahomes. So it's like, okay, of course you always gonna take Mahomes. He's Patrick Mahomes, like he's the guy. But after that, it's like, well, I know what Jalen Hurts do when he get in the Super Bowl. I know what he do when he get in the playoffs, and I know what he do when he get in the Super Bowl. That's what I want. You know,
it's an interesting conversation because I'm thinking about it in two different ways. If I'm at the football field, neighborhood football field, and we just playing, just some throw up tackle football, like maybe I choose the more talented quarterbacks first, right? Maybe I choose the Lamar Jackson, who's just clearly a unicorn. Maybe I choose the Mahomes, who is clearly, like, technical speaking wise, he's like the prototypical perfect quarterback that you would want to see. Maybe I take the Josh Allen first, who is like the Cam Newton mixture of arm strength and pure strength when in the run game. But then I think about it like, yeah, that's in that setting, but in an NFL game, and maybe the street game too, is like Jalen Hurts wins. He wins, and that matters. Like if I'm starting a team from scratch, winning games is probably the highest priority. Who's gonna not commit the turnovers when it matters, right?
He's a leader too, man. Like that's another thing about Jalen Hurts. Like he leads by example.
You can tell his father was a coach.
Yeah, like he just is a quiet assassin. I'm happy for him. That's what I'm real happy for him. To bounce back from what because all of us remember we was very knowledgeable watching sports when Tua benched him in that championship. We all remember that. So to be able to deal with that and still keep your career, still be a great teammate. Now you're a Super Bowl champion. Now you're going to Disney World. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can. It's probably one of the greatest feelings that he's feeling right now.
He's validated everything that he's said he's about. Like even like how he talks to the media, the quotes. Like you can tell, you can sense the leadership that he has in him, because he's not a huge talker, and all his quotes, all his quotables were always focused on the main goal, which was winning. And I'm not saying other quarterbacks don't do that, but it just looks a lot better once like the goal is accomplished and you look back at kind of like the journey. And he's always been the same Jalen. Each win, loss, good game, bad game. When they're saying when AJ Brown has a book on the sideline and Jalen Hurts is getting criticized for his play, he had the same tunnel vision. We play to win football games. We play to win football games. We play to win football games. Who cares about everything else? And that attitude is what won them football games. Because who cares about anything else? Who cares about the stats?
The main thing.
The main thing was always the main thing with them. And salute to him.
Shout out to Nick Sirianni, because as great as a coach he is, they was, like I said, they were saying he was on the hot seat. I don't know what's wrong with Eagles. What's wrong? They were saying he was on the hot seat. So now he Super Bowl winning coach.
Speaking of Sirianni, he's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, winning 1. The Eagles have won 2 Super Bowls since 2017. One with Doug Peterson, obviously, and then one with Sirianni last night. What should this tell other teams who have those long-standing coaches? Ravens, Steelers, Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, like I said, it's well
not
documented.
John who?
Yeah, it's well documented that we don't want Harbaugh. It's well documented that I'll speak for Skull that he's been saying he wants Tomlin gone. So we already know what we feel about it. You got to go younger, get a new voice in there. They took on the personality of their coach, fiery, get in your face. He's arguing with fans.
AJ Brown, but getting into it last night.
He cussing the fans out. He's arguing with Ertz on the middle of the field. I mean, he's winning. That's all.
And another thing you can put a feather in his cap. He beat the coordinator allegations too, because I remember when he first went to the Super Bowl, he lost his coordinators and it looked a little rough last season, right? But they
Steichen in them.
Steichen and who's the other guy? Gannon, right?
Gannon.
Yeah, Gannon. Yeah.
But it's like, and I agree 100%. But then you get Fangio and Kellen Moore, and they probably better than both of them. So it's like crazy. They probably. I mean, Fangio might get into the Hall of Fame as a coordinator one day. And Kellen Moore about to be a head coach, so we'll see what he gonna do. You know, so
you know
He
how to
ain't gonna do much in New Orleans, but
I actually like him in New Orleans though. I think once they get
this
that
is
cap
a tough
together,
place, cap space. Yeah, that's just gonna take them some time.
Once they get that cap together, but yeah, shout out to them. I'm interested to see next season what they, how the Chiefs gonna bounce back. We'll see because we got Ravens play them, of course. But it's interesting to see that how they did that because Kelsey was non-factor. I wonder how his career, was because even though they say he turned off, he definitely has lost a step. Like he's getting older, and that's only just not saying that he's a bum, not saying taking anything. He's just older, and you can see it. You can definitely see it. This is the first season where you actually see, okay, he's a little bit older now.
And this is the first season like he didn't have that hip hop flair to him. Like once he added the country like alternatives, like bro, he got long just for men's hair now. Like that's not the Travis
Someone
Kelce
poured me
I
up
know.
a double shot of whiskey.
That's not the Travis Kelce I know.
People are like, you should just stay with Thick Shorty. Like that's
See, Chauncey Gardner tweeted that. Put on the story, they were saying.
Like you need to get back to the basics, my boy.
Them Gators wild though. Shout out to CJG for sure. We talked about Howie Roseman a little bit earlier. So if you look at the Eagles' last 5 drafts, I'm gonna just throw out some names to y'all: Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Nakobe Dean, Cam Jurgens, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt, and Quinion Mitchell.
Jesus, and what's name got hurt and they ain't miss a beat.
Howie Roseman didn't draft somebody off potential who didn't have no sacks in college. He drafting dogs who producing at the highest level. A lot of these dudes SEC guys, but that's where the foundation of the championship team start. Getting these guys on cheap deals who are going to produce.
And you mix them with a veteran like Slay. You mix them with a veteran like Graham, and that's how you take off. That's how you build your team.
Where don't they have help? And to your point, it's the high draft pick, high pedigree young players with the high pedigree vets. They're not bringing in Eddie Jackson. They was bringing in slaves of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not bringing in Deshaun Jackson and shit. Like, like
even Dotson. Like that was a somebody who didn't do anything in the regular season, but did he not make a big play in the playoffs? I mean, in the Super Bowl, and
he had a touchdown in the playoffs too. I think against the Commanders.
He has that pedigree, right? Like he was a high draft pick. He has talent. You can't speak to kind of like his opportunity throughout the season, but when he was given the opportunity in the postseason, he's talented enough to do something with that opportunity. So it's just little things like that. Little when you take flyers on people, when you're not drafting based off of character, you're drafting based off I'm trying to win a fucking Super Bowl, right? So yeah,
I think a big
Howie Roseman don't care about character.
Yeah. I mean, I think because you got the right people in the building, you got the right coaches in the building. I think that's a big part of it is development. I think a lot of teams they may draft well, but you don't develop your players. I don't think the Ravens do a great job of developing certain position groups. I don't think the Steelers do a good job of developing certain positions. But you look at a team like the Eagles, it seemed like every single position group they develop well. Like the offensive line that they draft offensive linemen, all of them become all pros. They draft defensive linemen for years. They have all pro defensive linemen, linebackers. The key positions, tight ends. They seem like they draft and develop very well.
Yeah, I think for the Ravens specifically, we kind of overrate our development system. We think that, if a player is usable by year 4, year 5, we've developed them. And it's like, we shouldn't have to wait 4 or 5 years for impact, right? Like I need impact now, right? So that's kind of like just the philosophy that we have as a Ravens organization. I don't know if we're as accountable as we need to be regarding the structure, right? Like, yeah, we're bringing in projects, and the projects that we bring in take 4 or 5 years to kind of manifest itself. And when it manifests itself, they price themselves out and they're on another team, or we're paying for their breakout season and then they don't have a repeat season of that. And then now we're paying them as if they do this every year when they don't. So again, like it's unfortunate, but maybe with the Tucker situation and some other situations, maybe we just rip that veil off and we can just be honest with ourselves too, right? We're not here to win Ed Block Courage Awards. I think the fans pay money to watch a good team play, which they're a good team and they're always competitive, but we want to win too. We want to win same as anybody else. I don't know anybody that roots for a team sports-wise and says, you know what, I'm cool with losing. That shit was fun. Nobody says that.
But I mean, and you great point, because who's not going to a World Playoff game next year? I'm not. So it's like, it's not. I don't know how much money the Ravens make off of that, but they making something. They doing something if they getting fans traveling to the game. So they seeing something. They seeing some type of paper from that. Yeah, but it's like, you got to start. You got to do things different. You can't keep flaming out in the playoffs at this point. Not when you have an all-world talent at quarterback. Who's not getting any younger. You got to do something as far as developing these guys around him. You can't have Zay Flowers and then Zay Flowers got hurt. The drop off is so steep that you really can't compete. And shout out to Bateman, because Bateman played well in the playoffs, but we need more. He's
not a
more.
one though.
Yeah, we need more. That's what I'm saying. We need a lot more than what he's offering us, even as a 2. We need more than that. We need more, because you look at a team, like I say, look at a team. To my last point about Hodge Roseman and the Eagles, they got 2 number 1s. They had Devontae Smith, and they still went and got AJ.
When AJ Brown gets hurt, they don't be really feeling that.
They got 2 number 1s.
Devontae Smith like that. I got this. Don't
step
even
right.
worry.
Yeah, step right up. That's a Heisman Trophy winner right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I was thinking about it. Like, if Devontae Smith came to the AFC North, besides Jamar Chase, he'd be the best receiver in the AFC North. Like, you gotta think about it. Like, he's that nice. He's that nice.
Like him and Zay may have a conversation, but Devontae's had. I think Devontae's best season is probably better than Zay's. So,
I respect Zay, but if I had
to choose,
Smith, like,
listen, Devontae Smith's stats as a number 2 mirror stats as a number 1, and we can't say, oh, it's because the type of offense we have, because we was the number 7 passing defense this year. We throw the ball now.
So yeah, they just the depth. It's about developing the depth. We need more than a Bateman at 2, and then he goes down, and we got to deal with Tylan Wiles out there. Like, you're not. Come on, man. Like that. How can you compete? How you can compete? You can't compete like that. Like in big games. Like, and I'm not saying that. I think the Eagles would have beat anybody last night. I'm putting on the record. They would have whipped anybody ass. That they just was right.
We said that they were the best team we faced all year.
Yeah, like it was just their time. I think they would have beat anybody that was opposing them yesterday. But even still, it might have been worse if your number 3 is Tylan. Like, you got to develop better with development. Like, just imagine if we had Brandon Stevens sticking AJ Brown that whole game. Like, come on, man. Like, you're not gonna be able to compete with the best teams with the type of who you wants to be your number 1s, like, or your depth chart for that matter. Like, you got to build the roster. And we thought we had a good roster, but when you look at the teams that advance in the playoffs, the roster is not the same. It's really not.
And I hate bringing this guy's name up, and I probably won't even bring the name up, but I'm just saying, like, a team like the Eagles wouldn't run away from bringing in talent. And I'll just leave it at that. They're the team that does not run away from bringing in talent, whether it works out or does work out. That's to be seen. But they usually bring in the right people, the right guys, and regardless of how it works out, they are comfortable knowing that, hey, we took a bet on talent. And I think that is an issue here. We don't take the bets on talent. We take the bets on the culture. We take the bets on the development system, the coaching. Nah, stop.
And they got to start developing, because it's guys that you have to pay. Kyle Hamilton, you're going to have to play Zay Flower, but you're going to have to play these people. And so the roster, you ain't gonna be able to fill out a roster. You're going to eventually have to pay a cornerback, because you can't pay Brandon Stevens and Nate Wiggins so young. So you're going to have to bring somebody in here.
You know what they say, Keith? Just be patient.
No, see, you know what I'm saying? You be patient and keep losing. I don't want to keep flaming out in the playoffs. Like, I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
Yo, we've turned into Cowboys fans. Like, we have a new excuse every playoff failure.
I seen you was the Twitter seemed to be the villain today. What was that? What's that? Now you hate Lamar. What's that about?
Yeah, apparently I hate Lamar because I wasn't rolling with, and you guys may agree, because it's not a bad take. They were saying, like, our defense doesn't force turnovers, and if you look at Super Bowl teams of past, it's not always on the offense to just be perfect, because the defense steps up and makes key plays and helps to kind of bring the wins home. And I don't even disagree with that. My issue is, if let's just keep it at the Bills game, if there were 0 turnovers to 0 turnovers, who do you think wins the game?
I mean, I say this to everybody. If the Ravens return the ball, the Ravens beat them by 3 touchdowns.
What the fuck are we talking about? I think in real life, man.
I mean, the Ravens beat them, but it's not even a close game. The Ravens return the ball. It's not close at all.
And somebody said, I don't care if I don't care if we committed 4 turnovers. We should have forced turnovers. And that's when I just stopped talking.
You can't. That's not even a legit conversation. Who the hell cares if you force 1 turnover if you give the ball over 4 times? What do it matter? So the only way that conversation that makes sense is if the Ravens turn the ball over 4 times and we force 4 turnovers. That's not ever going to happen. So the conversation is you're right. I would have just stopped talking, because they just like at that point they just talking.
I'm thinking a lot of. I feel like the Ravens fans, and I ain't trying to ruffle them, but I just feel like we got too many fans now that's not like from here. Like, it's too many hands in the pot.
Lamar made us a national brand.
Yeah, like we're a national team. When I'm in Buffalo and I got fans from Ontario telling me they're Raven fans, and
never been involved.
You would never be a Raven fan living in Ontario. Like, so, like, I just think it's too many hands in the pot, and a lot of this got to deal with people who really not here and who don't. They know what the Ravens are the last 5 to 6 years.
This shit don't make them feel no type of way. Like, I haven't felt that feeling that I felt in 2012 in 13 years, and I don't do this to. I don't know about y'all. Everybody, we fan the same way. I know how Keith is about the Lakers, Keys. I know how you is about the Sixers and shit. When they nice, you turned up. Like, niggas want to win. That's just really what it is. And then again, it's not even bad points, right? Like, yeah, our defense, as far as having consistent playmaking, consistent being able to turn teams over, sacks, D-line, hell no, it don't look like the Eagles. Hell no. But we lost the game by 2 points.
And the defense was the best defense in the league the last 8-9 games of the season.
The defense got stops in the second half, though.
The defense
kept about turning the ball over. They got stops.
They let up 3 points in the game. They gave up 3 points in the second half. 3 points.
They gave up 6 points, and two field goals. And again, if we could have convert the 2-point tries, what are we talking about? We probably win the game with the 2-point tries. Likely was open on the first one, and Andrews dropped the second one. And Lamar's fumble. I don't know if y'all remember, but I remember because that shit haunts me. Von Miller was running down the field. He almost scored on that play. They got the ball at the 24-yard line. So you want to talk about the defense? That's 7 points that the offense gave the defense right there.
That's just a cop out to try to say the defense.
The
defense did what that defense had to do, man. The defense did what they had to do.
273 total yards. The MVP quarterback held below 130. James Cook below 4 yards to carry, 67 yards. Like, come on, that's a winnable football game.
They had one big play, and that was the Kishore pass on Brandon. That
was Brandon Stevens. Yeah, that's not even the defense. That's Brandon.
They had one big play. You can't.
Now, mind you, if we had Michael Parsons, shit might, it might have been a little better. But if we don't, again, run backwards and fumble, or throw an interception, or not fall on the football,
you win the game. Yeah,
you literally win the game.
Yeah. So everybody knows the Ravens lost that game because of turnovers. That's the turnover. That was it. That's all to it.
and then we'll shit on Jalen Hurts and say he didn't do that much because look at what the defense did. I'm like, he had 1 turnover all postseason. We had 2 turnovers by our quarterback in the first half. He had 1 turnover all postseason. I don't want to hear about what the defense did. He did his part. Control what you can control. You don't play defense.
People don't like winners, man.
They like the Cowboys. They like being like the Cowboys. They want to make excuses every fucking time we fail, and it's always somebody else's fault. And this is not to cast aspersion or cast blame. Like, Lamar's my favorite player. Like, I want that man to have a Super Bowl more than anybody, right?
We all do
because it changes the game. He becomes the conversation becomes. Where's his place on the rankings once he gets a Super Bowl? Yeah. It's a whole different conversation. We all want that.
Way different.
And it's not all on him. Like Mark Andrews, you had who are some of the other reasons we lost the game?
Moncton and the play call and not just running the ball when he's supposed to run the ball.
Not getting Derrick Henry involved. Shit, Derrick Henry dropped a pass. I remember in the first quarter, he was wide open. I felt like he would have housed that.
Yeah.
I'll turn the keep.
We only let him live because we scored on that possession. But yeah, he definitely had a touchdown.
He dropped that. That was a touchdown. He was gone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not making no excuse for the Ravens.
It is what it is.
Get better or don't.
We had a good enough team this year. Could it have been better? Absolutely. We had a good enough team to make some noise. I know damn well if the Chiefs was going to look like that, we could have did that at least. We could have showed up and looked like that. I think we would have gave the Eagles a much better because we would have been able to run the ball. It would have been contrasting but similar styles and whoever can stop who from doing what they like to do first. It was kind of easy to take Mahomes out the game because, like Keys mentioned, you had a mismatch on the O-line from Jump Street. Their running game was non-existent. So at that point, you already behind the eight ball. We didn't have those issues.
No.
Oh, and we didn't see misdirections. We didn't see Lamar RPOs, right?
I don't know what
we can blame that too.
Yeah, I don't know why the game plan just don't be what the game plan is. Like, do what you do best. Don't let them take you out what you do. It's still crazy that we didn't run one RPO. That's kind of crazy. When we RPO the Steelers to death.
I was about to say it looked real good the week previous. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's a lesson we learned because we ran the ball more consistently this postseason. So maybe the lesson we have to adopt and learn for next year is, okay, now that we are cool running the ball when we're supposed to, like, let's include Lamar in trying to confuse defenses because we really have the cheat code every time we touch the football, we have a cheat code. Right. And the Eagles don't run away from that cheat code. They be using Hurts and Saquon down your throat.
Yeah.
Pause.
On that note, we're going to our first commercial break. Nitty Gritty.
When I want some sports news, Nitty Gritty is definitely who I'm tuning into, man. They show up each week with that uncut, that raw, that unfiltered sports news.
They say the things that everyone else wishes that they can say, but they can't.
Every Tuesday and Saturday, I am locked into my favorite sports show, Nitty Gritty.
Nitty Gritty, the best show out right now. Tune in and listen, stupid.